When a wealthy socialite called a young woman a crippled girl from nowhere at an exclusive gala, 300 guests watched in silence. They saw her cane kicked across the marble floor. They heard the laughter. They watched her boyfriend do nothing. What they didn't know was that 10 years later, she'd return as the lawyer who would destroy them all. Mia Rodriguez stood outside the Grand Belmore Hotel, her fingers gripping the handle of her black cane so tightly her knuckles had turned white. The building towered above her, all glass and gold, a monument to wealth she could barely comprehend. Through the massive windows, she could see chandeliers dripping with crystals, women in gowns that cost more than her mother's monthly rent, men in tuxedos laughing with champagne flutes in hand. She was 22 years old, a recent college graduate with a degree in education and dreams of teaching elementary school. She was also terrified. Her left leg, damaged in a car accident when she was 8 years old, ached from the effort of walking in heels. The emerald dress she wore had taken 6 months of saving from her part-time job at the library. Around her neck hung a strand of pearls, delicate and lustrous, that had belonged to her grandmother. Her mother Carmen had fastened the clasp that evening with trembling fingers. "These were your abuelas," Carmen had whispered, her eyes shining with tears. "She wore them on her wedding day. Now you wear them tonight. Remember, mija, you're worth 10 of them. Don't you ever forget that." Mia touched the pearls now, drawing strength from them. They were the only valuable thing her family owned, passed down through generations, a reminder that dignity didn't come from money. "Hey!" Julian appeared beside her, his hand warm on her shoulder. "You okay?" Julian Ashford was everything Mia never thought she'd have. Handsome, kind, from a family whose name was synonymous with luxury hotels across the country. They'd met 9 months ago at a volunteer event, where he was tutoring kids as part of his MBA program's community service requirement. He'd made her laugh. He'd asked for her number. He'd told her she was brilliant and beautiful, and that her limp made her no less extraordinary. Tonight was the first time she'd meet his mother in a public setting, Patricia Ashford, the woman who'd built the family business into an empire after her husband died, the woman Julian described with words like particular and traditional, and takes time to warm up to people. "I'm nervous," Mia admitted. "Don't be." Julian squeezed her hand. "They're going to love you. My mum just needs to see what I see. How smart you are, how kind, how perfect." Mia wanted to believe him. She followed him through the revolving doors into a world that didn't feel like hers. The ballroom was massive, filled with round tables draped in white linen, centerpieces of orchids and roses, a string quartet playing softly in the corner. The charity gala was for the Children's Hospital Foundation, an event that attracted 300 of the city's wealthiest and most influential people. Mia recognized faces from magazine covers and news broadcasts. Julian guided her through the crowd, his hand on the small of her back. People turned to look at them, and Mia felt their eyes lingering on her cane, on the slight hitch in her step. She kept her chin up, remembering her mother's words. "You're worth 10 of them." They found their table near the front. Julian pulled out her chair and Mia sat carefully, positioning her cane against the table where she could reach it easily. Around them, conversations buzzed about stock portfolios and vacation homes and people Mia had never heard of. "There's my mother," Julian said, nodding toward a woman in a silver gown who was holding court near the bar. Patricia Ashford was striking, her blonde hair swept into an elegant updo, diamonds at her throat and wrists that caught the light with every movement. She was laughing at something a man in a tuxedo had said, her hand resting on his arm with practiced ease. "She looks busy," Mia said. "We can wait." "No, come on, I want to introduce you." Julian stood, reaching for her hand. Mia took a breath and pushed herself up, cane in hand. They crossed the ballroom, weaving between tables and clusters of guests. Patricia saw them coming. Her smile didn't falter, but something shifted in her eyes, a flicker of assessment that made Mia's stomach tighten. "Julian, darling, Patricia kissed the air beside her son's cheek. "I was wondering when you'd arrive." "Mom, this is Mia. Mia Rodriguez, my girlfriend." Mia extended her hand. "Mrs. Ashford, it's wonderful to finally meet you. Julian speaks so highly of you." Patricia's handshake was brief, her fingers cool and limp. Her gaze traveled down Mia's body, pausing at the cane, then moving to the pearls at her neck, her eyes narrowing slightly. "How nice. Julian mentioned he was bringing someone." She touched the pearls with one perfectly manicured finger. "Oh, these are charming. Costume jewelry, I assume." The words were delivered with a smile, but the dismissal was clear. Mia's face burned. "Actually, they belonged to my grandmother. They're real pearls." "How sweet." Patricia's tone suggested she didn't believe it for a second. Her attention had already shifted to someone over Mia's shoulder. "Julian, darling, the Hendersons are here. You remember Natalie Henderson, don't you? She just got back from her year abroad in Paris. You two should catch up." "Mom, I'm here with Mia." "I'm sure she won't mind." Patricia's smile was ice. "You can entertain yourself for a few minutes, can't you, dear?" Before Mia could respond, Patricia had linked her arm through Julian's and was steering him away toward a blonde woman in a white gown. Julian looked back apologetically, but he went. Mia stood alone in the middle of the ballroom, her face burning with humiliation. Around her, conversations continued. People moved past her like water around a stone. She made her way to the champagne table, trying to look like she had somewhere to be, something to do. She was reaching for a glass when she heard Patricia's voice, deliberately loud, cutting through the ambient noise. "Oh, there she is. Julian's little project." Mia turned. Patricia was standing 15 feet away with 3 other women in expensive gowns, all of them looking at Mia. The women laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Patricia moved closer, her eyes scanning Mia from head to toe, lingering on the cane with undisguised distaste. "Tell me, dear, how exactly did you convince my son to bring you here? Surely you understand this event is for a certain caliber of person. People who can actually contribute to society, not burden it." The words hit Mia like a physical blow. Her throat tightened. "Mrs. Ashford, I don't think—" "Look at her shoes," one of Patricia's friends interrupted, her voice thick with champagne and cruelty. "Are those from a department store? How quaint." Another woman leaned in, mock whispering loud enough for others to hear. "Does she even know how to dance, can she?" They all laughed. Mia's hands were shaking. The champagne glass slipped slightly in her grip. She wanted to run, to disappear, but her leg wouldn't let her move fast enough to escape with dignity. The conversations around them had stopped. People were staring. She saw phones coming out, screens glowing as guests started recording. Patricia stepped closer, close enough that Mia could smell her perfume, expensive and suffocating. "Julian has always had a soft heart for broken things, stray dogs, wounded birds." She gestured vaguely at Mia's body, at her cane, her voice rising to carry across the ballroom. "But this is reality, sweetheart. Your daughter would be an embarrassment to the Ashford name. Look at you, limping around with that cane like some Victorian invalid. Do you honestly think you belong in this world?" Mia felt tears welling in her eyes. The room had gone completely silent. 300 people were watching. Patricia sensed her audience and went in for the kill. Her voice rang out, clear and cold. "My son deserves someone whole, someone who can stand beside him without looking like a charity case herself. Someone who won't embarrass him every time they enter a room. You're nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere, and you will never be part of this family." The words landed like blows. Mia's entire body was shaking now, her leg threatening to give out beneath her. She searched desperately for Julian and found him across the room, frozen next to Natalie Henderson, his face pale with shock. He'd heard everything. He was just standing there, doing nothing. Mia's cane slipped from her trembling hand and clattered against the marble floor. The sound echoed through the silent ballroom like a gunshot. She bent to pick it up, her movements awkward and desperate, and one of Patricia's friends stepped forward and kicked the cane away with her designer heel, sending it sliding across the polished floor. Laughter erupted. Not everyone, but enough. Enough to make Mia feel like the entire world was mocking her. She limped after her cane, tears streaming down her face, her carefully applied makeup running in black streaks. Her leg was screaming in pain, the heels making every step agony. She grabbed the cane with both hands, clutching it like a lifeline, and turned toward the exit. Behind her, Patricia's voice carried across the ballroom one final time. Well, at least she can still run. Sort of. More laughter. The sound followed Mia as she pushed through the crowd, as she stumbled through the massive doors and out into the cool night air. She made it to the stone steps outside the hotel before her leg gave out completely. She collapsed onto the stairs, sobbing, her expensive dress pooling around her, her grandmother's pearls pressing against her chest with each heaving breath. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out with shaking hands and saw her mother's name on the screen. "Mija, how's the gala?" Carmen's voice was warm, hopeful. "Are you having a good time?" Mia tried to speak, but only a broken sob came out. "Mija, what happened? Where are you?" "Mama!" The word came out as a wail. "Mama, please come get me. I'm coming. Stay right there. I'm coming right now." Mia sat on the cold stone steps outside the Grand Belmore Hotel, watching luxury cars pull up to drop off late arrivals in their gowns and tuxedos. Inside, the gala continued. The music played. People danced and drank and laughed. And somewhere in that glittering ballroom, Julian Ashford was making excuses for why he'd stood silent while his mother destroyed the woman he claimed to love. 20 minutes felt like hours. Finally, Carmen's beat-up Honda pulled up to the curb. Her mother jumped out, still wearing her waitress uniform from the dinner shift, and ran up the steps. She wrapped her arms around Mia and held her while she cried. "I've got you," Carmen whispered, rocking her daughter like she had when Mia was a little girl waking from nightmares about the accident. "I've got you, baby. Tell me what happened." Between sobs, Mia told her. Every word, every look, every laugh. The cane sliding across the floor, the woman kicking it away, Julian's silence, Patricia's final taunt. Carmen's face hardened with a fury Mia had rarely seen. She cupped her daughter's tear-stained face in her calloused hands and looked into her eyes with fierce intensity. "Listen to me. That woman is a monster. Your disability doesn't make you less than anyone. Do you hear me? You survived an accident that could have killed you. You graduated college with honors. You're about to start your teaching career. You are strong and brilliant and beautiful, and that woman doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as you." "But she's right, Mama." Mia's voice broke. "I don't belong in that world. I can't even walk across a room without people staring at me, without them seeing me as broken." "No." Carmen's voice was fierce. "You're not broken. You're different. And different is not less. That boy in there, the one who didn't defend you, he showed you exactly who he is. Believe him." Carmen helped Mia to her feet and into the car. As they pulled away from the Grand Belmore Hotel, Mia looked back one last time at the glittering windows, at the world that had just told her she didn't belong. Inside her purse, her phone was buzzing with calls and texts from Julian. She didn't answer. She turned her phone face down and closed her eyes, letting her mother drive her home through the dark city streets. She didn't know it yet, but that night would change everything. The humiliation would spread across the internet by morning. The video of Patricia's cruelty would be watched by millions. And Mia Rodriguez, the crippled girl from nowhere, would spend the next 10 years becoming someone Patricia Ashford would learn to fear. But tonight, she was just a 22-year-old woman with a broken heart and a bruised spirit, crying in her mother's car, wondering if she would ever feel whole again. Mia woke up the next morning to her phone vibrating non-stop on her nightstand. She'd fallen asleep in her emerald dress, too exhausted and heartbroken to change. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her legs stiff and aching from the strain of the previous night. For a blissful moment, she'd forgotten what happened. Then it all came crashing back. She reached for her phone and immediately wished she hadn't. 43 missed calls, over 100 text messages, and her social media notifications had exploded into the thousands. With trembling fingers, she opened Twitter. The first post she saw made her stomach drop. Wealthy socialite mocks disabled woman at charity gala was trending nationwide. The video had been viewed over 2 million times and climbing. Someone had captured the entire encounter in high definition, Patricia's voice crystal clear. "You're nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere." Mia watched herself in the video, seeing her own humiliation from the outside. The moment her cane fell, the woman kicking it away, her desperate limping across the marble floor while people laughed. She looked small, pathetic, exactly like Patricia said she was. The comments section was a war zone. "That rich woman is disgusting, ableist trash." Honestly though, what did that girl expect dating someone so far out of her league? "This is heartbreaking. No one deserves to be treated like that. She's using her disability for sympathy. Gold digger got what she deserved." Where was the boyfriend? He just stood there. Maybe the mom has a point. Some people just don't fit in certain worlds. Mia threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. She pulled her blanket over her head and tried to disappear. Carmen knocked softly on the door. "Mija, can I come in?" "No." Her mother came in anyway, carrying a cup of tea and a plate of toast. She sat on the edge of the bed and pulled the blanket back from Mia's face. "You need to eat something." "I can't." Mia's voice was hollow. "Everyone's seen it, Mama, everyone. The whole world watched me get humiliated." "I know, baby. I've seen the video. People are saying terrible things, that I'm a gold digger, that I deserved it, that I should have known better than to think someone like Julian could actually love someone like me." Carmen set the tea down and took her daughter's hand. "Those people don't know you. They don't matter, but they're right." Mia sat up, her hair tangled, mascara stains on her cheeks. "I didn't belong there. I was stupid to think I could fit into that world. Look at me, Mama. I can barely walk across a room without my cane. I'll never be what people like the Ashfords consider normal." "Stop." Carmen's voice was sharp. "I won't let you do this to yourself. That woman tried to break you because she's cruel and small-minded. Don't let her win." Mia's phone, still on the floor, started buzzing again. Carmen picked it up and looked at the screen. "It's Julian again. He's called 20 times this morning. I don't want to talk to him." "Good, you shouldn't." Carmen blocked the number and handed the phone back. "He had his chance to stand up for you. He chose silence." Over the next 3 days, the video continued to spread. News outlets picked it up. Disability rights advocates condemn socialites' appalling behavior at charity event. Local television stations ran segments. Think pieces appeared online with headlines like "The Invisible Prejudice," "How Society Still Treats People with Disabilities." Patricia Ashford released a statement through her PR team. "The video circulating online lacks important context. I have always supported charitable causes, including those benefiting people with disabilities. This unfortunate incident has been taken out of proportion by social media. I regret any misunderstanding." The statement made Mia feel sick. No apology. No acknowledgement of what she'd actually said. Just corporate spin and victim blaming. But there were consequences, even if Patricia wouldn't admit wrongdoing. Carmen showed Mia an article 3 days after the gala. Major investor pulls $50 million from Ashford Hotels. The investor, Richard Chen, had released his own statement. "My daughter has cerebral palsy. After seeing how Mrs. Ashford treats people with disabilities, I cannot in good conscience continue my business relationship with this company." Another article appeared the next day. Anonymous employees of Ashford Hotels had begun leaking more videos and emails, showing a pattern of cruel behavior toward staff over the years. Patricia berating a housekeeper for moving too slowly. Patricia firing a front desk clerk for having the wrong look. Patricia's reputation, so carefully constructed over decades, was beginning to crack. Mia found no satisfaction in it. The damage to Patricia's empire didn't undo the damage to Mia's heart. Julian kept trying to reach her through friends, through social media, even showing up at her apartment building. Each time, Carmen turned him away. "My daughter has nothing to say to you." On the fourth day, Mia's best friend Monica showed up unannounced with takeout and determination. She found Mia still in pajamas, still unable to face the world. "Okay, enough," Monica said, setting the food on the coffee table. "You've had 3 days to wallow. Now we're going to talk about what comes next." "There is no next," Mia said. "I'm done. I'll teach my third graders and stay invisible and never ever put myself out there again. That's exactly what Patricia wants. For you to disappear. To prove she was right about you not belonging." Monica sat beside her on the couch. "But you know what I think? I think you're going to prove her wrong in the most spectacular way possible." That evening, Monica dragged Mia to a coffee shop near campus. They were waiting in line when Julian walked in. He saw Mia immediately, his face flooding with relief and desperation. He started toward her. Monica stepped between them, her voice loud enough to carry. "You're pathetic. She loved you and you let her be humiliated. You stood there and did nothing while your mother destroyed her. You don't deserve to even say her name." Other customers turned to stare. Someone pulled out their phone and started recording. Julian's face went red. "Monica, please, I just need to explain." "Explain what? That you're a coward? We already know that. The whole world knows that." Monica's voice was fierce. "Stay away from her. You had your chance to be the man she deserved. You failed." She took Mia's arm and guided her out of the coffee shop, leaving Julian standing alone while whispers spread around him. The video of the confrontation would be online within an hour, adding another layer to the story that had already consumed Mia's life. But something shifted in Mia that day. Watching Monica defend her with such fierce loyalty, seeing Julian's shame, she felt something stir beneath the pain. Not forgiveness, not healing, but something that felt almost like anger. That night, Mia couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying Patricia's words over and over. "You're nothing, you're broken, you don't belong." She thought about her mother working double shifts to afford her SAT prep classes. She thought about the professors at her college who'd believed in her, who'd written recommendation letters praising her determination and insight. She thought about the teaching position waiting for her at Roosevelt Elementary, where Mrs. Patterson had called to say, "The entire staff is behind you. You're exactly the kind of teacher we want for our students." At 2 in the morning, Mia got out of bed and opened her laptop. She pulled up the LSAT study guide she'd downloaded months ago, back when she'd first had the crazy idea that maybe, just maybe, she could go to law school. She dismissed the idea as impossible, too expensive, too competitive, too hard for someone like her. But now, staring at the study materials, she thought, what if Patricia was wrong? What if the only person who could make her feel like nothing was herself? What if she could become something Patricia Ashford would never see coming? The next morning, Carmen found Mia at the kitchen table, surrounded by law school applications and LSAT prep books. Her daughter looked different somehow, still hurt, still healing, but no longer broken. "Mia, what's all this?" Mia looked up at her mother, and Carmen saw determination in her eyes that hadn't been there since the gala. "I'm going to law school, Mama. I'm going to specialize in disability rights, and I'm going to make sure what happened to me never happens to anyone else." Carmen's eyes filled with tears. "Law school costs money we don't have. Then I'll get scholarships. I'll take out loans. I'll work 3 jobs if I have to." Mia's voice was steady. "Patricia Ashford told me I was nothing. She told me I didn't belong in her world. Well, I'm going to build my own world, a better one. And if I ever see her again, she's going to regret the day she underestimated the crippled girl from nowhere." Carmen pulled her daughter into a fierce hug. "That's my girl. That's my fighter." 2 weeks later, Mia started her teaching position at Roosevelt Elementary. Her third graders asked about her cane on the first day, and she told them the truth about her accident, letting them examine the stickers she'd put on it. They saw her disability with pure curiosity, without judgment, and it reminded Mia why she'd wanted to teach in the first place. But every night after her students went home, Mia stayed up studying for the LSAT. She worked through practice problems until her eyes burned. She wrote and rewrote her personal statement, trying to capture her experience without sounding bitter, trying to explain how discrimination had opened her eyes to injustice she couldn't ignore. One night, deep in her closet, she found a box of Carmen's old notebooks. Curious, she opened one and found pages filled with her mother's handwriting. Lists titled "Dreams for Mia," written when Mia was still a child. Lawyer, teacher, doctor, strong, happy, free. Mia broke down crying, clutching the notebook to her chest. Her mother had always believed in her, had always seen her potential, had always known she was more than her disability, more than other people's limitations. She called Carmen, who was between shifts at the diner. "Mama, I found your notebooks, the dreams you wrote for me." Carmen was quiet for a moment. "I wrote those when you were in the hospital after the accident. When the doctors said you might never walk again, that your life would be limited. I refused to believe them. I wrote down everything I knew you could be, everything I knew you would be. I'm going to make those dreams come true," Mia promised. All of them. 3 months later, acceptance letters started arriving. Rejected from Harvard, rejected from Yale, waitlisted at Georgetown. Then a thick envelope came from NYU Law School. Mia's hands shook as she opened it. "Dear Ms. Rodriguez, we are pleased to offer you admission to New York University School of Law with a full merit scholarship." The letter went on, but Mia couldn't read through her tears. Attached was a note from the admissions committee. "Your personal statement was one of the most powerful we've read in years. We believe you will bring invaluable perspective to our community and go on to make significant contributions to civil rights law." Carmen came home from work to find Mia sitting at the kitchen table, the letter spread out in front of her, tears streaming down her face. "Mija, what happened?" Mia looked up at her mother and smiled through her tears. "I got in, Mama. Full scholarship. I'm going to be a lawyer." Carmen dropped her purse and pulled Mia into her arms, both of them crying and laughing. "I'm so proud of you, baby. So proud." That night, Mia allowed herself to think about the future for the first time since the gala. Law school in New York, a career fighting for people like her, a purpose bigger than her pain. She took out her phone and looked at the viral video one more time. 2 million views had become 5 million, but when she watched it now, she didn't see a victim. She saw someone who'd survived, someone who'd been knocked down and was getting back up. She saw the beginning of something Patricia Ashford would never understand. Transformation through pain, purpose born from humiliation, strength forged in fire. Mia deleted the video from her phone. She didn't need to watch it anymore. She knew who she was, and she knew where she was going. And 10 years from now, Patricia Ashford would know it too. 3 months after the gala, Mia stood in her classroom at Roosevelt Elementary, watching 22 third graders file in for the first day of school. Their faces were bright with excitement and nervousness, backpacks almost as big as they were, new shoes squeaking on the linoleum floor. "Good morning, everyone. I'm Miss Rodriguez, and I'm so happy to be your teacher this year." A little boy named Marcus raised his hand immediately. "Miss Rodriguez, why do you have that stick?" Some of the other children gasped at his directness, but Mia smiled. This was exactly the kind of honesty she needed. "This is called a cane, Marcus. When I was about your age, I was in a car accident. My leg was hurt and it never healed completely, so I used this cane to help me walk. Pretty cool, right? Marcus's eyes widened. Does it hurt? Sometimes, but I'm used to it now. It's part of who I am. A girl named Sophia raised her hand. Can I touch it? Sure. Mia handed the cane to Sophia, and soon all the children were gathered around, examining the colorful stickers Mia had added. Butterflies, stars, smiley faces. You made it pretty, Sophia said, running her fingers over a glittery unicorn sticker. I did, because just because something is different doesn't mean it can't be beautiful. The children nodded, accepting this simple truth in the way only children could. To them, Mia wasn't disabled or broken or an embarrassment. She was just Miss Rodriguez, their teacher with the cool stickers on her cane. Teaching filled Mia with purpose. Every day with her students reminded her why she'd fought so hard to get here, why she'd pushed through the pain and doubt. These children didn't care about her limp or her limitations. They cared that she made learning fun, that she listened when they talked about their problems, that she believed in them. But at night, alone in her apartment, Mia thought about the future. Teaching third grade was fulfilling, but it wasn't enough. The anger that had started as a small flame the morning after the gala had grown into something larger, more focused. She'd started seeing Dr. Sarah Chen, a therapist who specialized in trauma and disability, twice a week. Dr. Chen helped her understand that what happened to her wasn't unique. People with disabilities face discrimination every single day, in employment, education, public spaces. Patricia Ashford had just been cruel enough to say out loud what many people thought in private. What are you going to do with that anger? Dr. Chen asked during one session. Mia had known the answer immediately. I'm going to make sure it never happens to anyone else. At the end of the school year, Mia gave notice at Roosevelt Elementary. Her students made her cards and brought her flowers. Marcus gave her a drawing of a superhero with a cane. That's you, Miss Rodriguez, because you're strong. She kept that drawing. It went with her to New York City, to the tiny studio apartment in Manhattan she could barely afford even with her scholarship, to the beginning of the hardest 3 years of her life. Law school was brutal. The reading was endless, cases upon cases that blurred together, legal theories that seemed designed to confuse rather than clarify. Her classmates were brilliant, many of them from elite universities with pre-law programs that had prepared them for exactly this. Mia had to work twice as hard just to keep up. Her leg ached constantly from the long days sitting in lecture halls, from walking across campus, from the stress that made her entire body tense. Some mornings she could barely get out of bed. The nerve damage that had been manageable for years seemed to worsen under the pressure, but she never missed a single class. She joined a support group for people with physical disabilities in her second semester, meeting every Thursday evening in a community center in Brooklyn. There she met others who understood the daily challenges she faced, the pain, the fatigue, the constant navigation of a world not built for bodies like theirs. It helped her process the trauma from the gala in a way therapy alone couldn't. In her second year, Mia joined the Disability Rights Law Clinic. She worked on real cases under the supervision of Professor Morrison, a fierce advocate who'd been fighting discrimination cases for 30 years. Her first case was for a veteran named James Sullivan, who'd returned from Afghanistan with PTSD and had been fired from his warehouse job after having a panic attack at work. The employer claimed James was unable to perform essential job functions and refused to provide any accommodation. Mia spent weeks researching case law, drafting motions, preparing James for his deposition. When they won a settlement that included back pay, damages, and mandatory PTSD training for the company's managers, James broke down crying in Professor Morrison's office. "You gave me my dignity back," he told Mia, shaking her hand. "You made them see me as a person, not just someone broken." Mia understood exactly what he meant. That case cemented what she already knew. This was her calling. During her second year, something else happened that would change her life, though she didn't recognize it at first. She was attending a civil rights conference at Columbia University, sitting in on a panel about media coverage of marginalized communities. During the Q&A session, she asked a sharp question about how journalists could avoid ableist language while still reporting honestly about disability issues. After the panel, a man approached her. He was tall, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, and a smile that seemed genuine rather than polite. "That was a brilliant question," he said, extending his hand. "I'm David Park. I'm a journalist with the New York Times. Mia Rodriguez, law student at NYU. Can I buy you coffee and hear more of your thoughts? I'm working on a series about employment discrimination, and I'd love your perspective." Coffee turned into a 3-hour conversation at a cafe near campus. They talked about justice and policy and lived experience. David asked thoughtful questions and actually listened to the answers. He never once stared at her cane or asked about her disability unless it was directly relevant to the discussion. Before they parted ways, they exchanged numbers. "If you ever want to talk more about this stuff or just grab coffee, let me know," David said. "It's rare to meet someone who thinks as deeply about these issues as you do." Over the following months, they met occasionally for coffee. The meetings were always framed as professional, discussing cases, talking about policy, sharing articles, but Mia found herself looking forward to them more than she should. David made her laugh. He challenged her intellectually. He had a way of making complex problems seem manageable, and insurmountable obstacles seem conquerable. One afternoon, during their 5th or 6th coffee meeting, David told a story about his first disastrous attempt at investigative journalism that made Mia laugh so hard she snorted coffee through her nose. She was mortified, but David just grinned and handed her napkins. "That's adorable," he said, and something in his tone made Mia's heart skip. She realized with a start that she was developing feelings for him. Real feelings, the kind that made her stomach flutter when her phone buzzed with his messages, the kind that made her spend extra time getting ready before their coffee meetings. But she was terrified. Julian had taught her that opening her heart meant risking devastation. She kept David at a careful distance, maintaining the friendship, but never letting it become more, no matter how much part of her wanted to. David never pushed. He seemed content with their friendship, though occasionally Mia caught him looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read, something warm and wondering that made her both hopeful and afraid. The years passed in a blur of casebooks and court observations and late-night study sessions. Mia didn't just survive law school, she dominated it. She graduated in the top 5% of her class. She was named an editor of the NYU Law Review. She wrote papers that got published in legal journals, analyzing gaps in disability discrimination law and proposing reforms. Major firms started recruiting her during her 3rd year. She interviewed with 6 different practices before accepting an offer from Sterling & Wade, one of the most prestigious civil rights firms in Manhattan. They specialized in employment discrimination and corporate misconduct, exactly where Mia wanted to be. By 28, Mia Rodriguez was a rising associate at Sterling & Wade. She worked on landmark cases, representing clients who'd been fired for their disabilities, denied promotions, subjected to hostile work environments. She won more cases than she lost. Her name started appearing in legal magazines and disability rights publications. She moved into a better apartment in Brooklyn, one with an elevator and wide doorways. She bought her mother a new car, a reliable Honda that Carmen cried over because it meant she wouldn't have to worry about breaking down on the way to work anymore. Mia also commissioned a custom cane made of carbon fiber, sleek, professional, lightweight, but strong. It cost more than her first month's rent, but it was worth it. The cane became part of her professional image, a statement that she wasn't hiding anything. She dated occasionally, but nothing serious. There was a lawyer from another firm who took her to nice restaurants and said the right things, but Mia felt nothing. There was a professor she'd met at a conference who was intelligent and kind, but the chemistry wasn't there. She told herself she was too busy for a relationship, that her career had to come first. But the truth was more complicated. She was still scared, still carrying the scars from that night at the Grand Belmore Hotel, when the man she loved had chosen silence over defending her. She and David still met for coffee every few months. He'd won a major journalism award for an investigation into labor law violations. She'd been featured in a New York magazine profile about young lawyers making a difference. Their lives were both full and successful, and their friendship remained exactly that, a friendship. Though sometimes when they said goodbye after their coffee meetings, Mia wondered what might happen if she were brave enough to risk her heart again. Meanwhile, across the city, Julian Ashford was living a very different life. He still worked at Ashford Hotels, trapped in middle management under his mother's watchful eye. He'd been engaged to Natalie Henderson for 2 years now, a relationship that existed more on paper than in reality. Natalie was exactly what Patricia wanted, Princeton-educated from old money, appropriately connected. She was also cold and ambitious, and made Julian feel more alone than when he was actually by himself. But it was the physical symptoms that worried him most. For the past 8 months, Julian had been experiencing strange problems, fatigue that no amount of sleep could fix, blurred vision that came and went without warning, weakness in his legs, especially after a long day, tremors in his hands that he tried to hide during business meetings. He told himself it was stress, the pressure of working for his mother, the unhappiness of his engagement, the weight of regret that never seemed to lift. He'd see a doctor eventually, when things calmed down, when he had time. But the symptoms kept getting worse, and Julian kept pretending they weren't there. He occasionally Googled Mia's name, reading about her victories in court, seeing photos of her at legal conferences. In every picture, she looked confident and powerful, and completely transformed from the crying girl he'd watched run out of the ballroom 10 years ago. He'd destroyed his chance at real love, and he knew it. Some nights, alone in his expensive apartment, Julian wondered what his life might have looked like if he'd been brave enough to defend Mia that night, if he'd chosen love over fear. But it was too late for wondering, too late for redemption. He'd made his choice, and now he was living with it. On a Tuesday morning in October, exactly 10 years after the gala, Mia was called into Marcus Sterling's office. Her boss was a legend in civil rights law, a man who'd spent 40 years fighting for justice and winning more often than not. He sat behind his desk with a thick file folder in front of him, his expression serious. "We've got a big one," Marcus said. "Class action. 50 plaintiffs, all former employees of a major hotel corporation. Systematic discrimination against workers with disabilities. Wrongful termination, hostile work environment, ADA violations across multiple locations." Mia leaned forward, her interest piqued. "Which company?" Marcus slid the folder across the desk. Mia's hands started shaking the moment she saw the name embossed on the folder, Ashford Hotels. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. She stared at the logo she recognized from a night 10 years ago, the name that had haunted her dreams and fueled her ambition. Her hands trembled as she opened the folder. Inside were declarations from 50 employees, a concierge who'd been fired for using a wheelchair, a housekeeper with arthritis who'd lost her job and her home, a deaf-line cook who'd been mocked by management, page after page of people whose lives had been damaged by discrimination. And there, in an email dated 3 years ago, was Patricia Ashford's name. The email was clinical, businesslike, but the meaning was unmistakable. "We are a luxury brand. Our guests expect a certain standard. Make sure our hiring practices reflect that." Mia looked up at Marcus, her heart pounding. "I'll take it." "You sure?" "It's going to be intense. National media coverage, high stakes, a defense team that will throw everything at us. Marcus studied her carefully, and I looked into the CEO. Patricia Ashford. She's known for being ruthless in court. Mia's voice was steady, though inside she was trembling with something that felt like destiny clicking into place. I know. I've met her before. Marcus raised an eyebrow but didn't ask. Lead counsel? Lead counsel. Then let's bring them down. Mia carried the folder back to her office and closed the door. She sat at her desk, the Manhattan skyline stretching out before her through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and opened the file again. 50 people who'd been treated the way Patricia had treated her. 50 people who'd been told they were broken, unwanted, embarrassing. 50 people who needed someone to fight for them. She thought about that night at the gala. The cane sliding across the marble. The laughter. Julian's silence. Patricia's voice. You're nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere. She picked up her phone and called her mother. Mama, she said when Carmen answered. Remember Patricia Ashford? How could I forget? I'm about to sue her company for $89 million. There was a pause. Then Carmen laughed, the sound full of pride and fierce satisfaction. Make her pay, Mija. Make her pay for every person she's ever hurt. Mia hung up and looked at the folder one more time. Then she opened her laptop and got to work. She had a case to build. She had 10 years of anger and purpose to channel into it. She had 50 people counting on her to deliver justice. And Patricia Ashford had absolutely no idea what was coming. But she was about to find out. Mia spent the next 6 months building a case so airtight that even the most expensive defense team in the country wouldn't be able to dismantle it. She interviewed all 50 plaintiffs personally, sitting across from each one in conference rooms or coffee shops or their own living rooms, listening to stories that broke her heart and fueled her determination. Jennifer Parker was 43, a housekeeper who'd worked for the Ashford Grand in Miami for 15 years. She'd started when her daughter was in elementary school, worked her way up to head housekeeper, never missed a day, never complained about the physically demanding work. Then she developed arthritis. It started in her hands, stiffness in the mornings, pain that grew worse as the day went on. Then her knees. By year 14, she needed a modified schedule and help with the heavier tasks like moving furniture and lifting mattresses. My supervisor told me I needed to either do the job properly or find work elsewhere, Jennifer said, her voice shaking. I'd given them 15 years. 15 years of scrubbing toilets and making beds and cleaning up after people who treated me like I was invisible. And the moment I asked for help, I was disposable. 2 weeks after her request for accommodation, Jennifer was fired for inability to meet job requirements. She lost her apartment 3 months later. Her daughter had to drop out of community college to work full-time and help support them. Jennifer lived in her car for 4 months before finally finding a room to rent. I just want them to know they can't do this to people, Jennifer told Mia, tears streaming down her face. We're not trash. We're human beings. Mia reached across the table and took Jennifer's hand. I'm going to make this right. I promise you. Marcus Chen had been a concierge at the Ashford Plaza in Chicago for 8 years. He was 29 when a drunk driver ran a red light and left him paralyzed from the waist down. After 6 months of rehabilitation, he returned to work in a wheelchair, ready to resume his position. Instead, he was reassigned to a basement office doing inventory and paperwork, told that his wheelchair would make guests uncomfortable in the lobby. When he complained to HR about being hidden away, he was fired 3 weeks later for insubordination. They told me I was lucky they kept me at all, Marcus said, his jaw tight with anger. Like I should be grateful they let me work in a basement where no one had to look at me, where I wouldn't remind their precious guests that disabled people exist. Story after story, the pattern was undeniable. Workers who'd given years of loyal service, thrown away the moment they became inconvenient. The moment they stopped fitting Patricia Ashford's definition of perfection, Mia worked 18-hour days, building the case piece by piece. Her legal team, 2 junior associates and 3 paralegals, compiled thousands of pages of documents, internal emails, personnel files, training materials, performance reviews that mysteriously turned negative the moment an employee disclosed a disability. The evidence was damning. In one email chain, a regional manager in Boston wrote to Patricia directly, "The new ADA requirements are making it difficult to maintain our brand standards. We need clearer guidance on how to handle employees who become disabled after hiring." Patricia's response was chillingly direct. "Our brand is built on excellence and luxury. Our guests don't come to Ashford hotels to be reminded of life's difficulties. Use whatever performance management tools are necessary to maintain our standards. Just be smart about the documentation." It wasn't explicitly saying fire disabled workers, but any employment lawyer would recognize it as a directive to find legal-sounding reasons to push them out. Mia found training manuals for managers that included a section on maintaining the Ashford aesthetic. The section featured photographs of preferred employee appearances, young, attractive, able-bodied staff in crisp uniforms, smiling at the camera. Not a single image showed anyone with a visible disability, anyone using mobility aids, anyone who didn't fit the narrow definition of perfection. There were memos about hiring practices that instructed managers to note any physical limitations during interviews, a clear ADA violation. There were performance improvement plans that appeared within weeks of employees requesting accommodations, plans that set impossible standards designed to justify termination. And then there was the smoking gun. An email from Patricia to her HR director, sent 3 years ago, that laid bare her entire philosophy. "I don't care what the ADA says. We're a luxury brand. Our guests don't want to be served by people who make them uncomfortable. Find legal ways to avoid hiring anyone who looks sick or damaged, and if current employees become problems, manage them out. Our reputation depends on perfection." Mia made copies of everything, organized the evidence into an airtight timeline, prepared exhibits that would make the jury see exactly what Patricia had created, a company culture where disability was seen not as part of human diversity, but as a defect to be eliminated. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in Manhattan on a Monday morning in April. By noon, it was national news. 50 former employees sue Ashford, Hotels for Disability Discrimination, seeking $89 million in damages. The major networks picked it up. Disability rights organizations issued statements of support. Social media exploded with people sharing their own experiences of workplace discrimination. And somewhere in her corner office overlooking Central Park, Patricia Ashford learned that Mia Rodriguez was the lead attorney on the case. Mia wondered if Patricia even remembered her name. 10 years was a long time. Mia had been nobody then, just another insignificant person to crush and forget. But Patricia would remember her now. Ashford Hotels hired Whitmore and Associates, one of the most expensive defense firms in the country. Their lead attorney was Richard Whitmore himself, a man known for destroying plaintiffs on witness stands and getting massive corporations off with minimal penalties. Mia had faced him once before, 2 years ago, in a smaller case involving a tech company that had fired a woman with chronic fatigue syndrome. Whitmore was brilliant, ruthless, and condescending. He'd called Mia sweetheart in court until the judge told him to stop. He'd made jokes about her cane during a deposition break, thinking she couldn't hear. She'd beaten him anyway. The defense's response to the lawsuit arrived 3 weeks later. It was exactly what Mia expected. Ashford Hotels denied all allegations. They claimed the terminations were legitimate, based on performance issues and business needs. They argued that the plaintiffs were disgruntled former employees trying to exploit their disabilities for financial gain. The response also included a motion to exclude irrelevant character evidence. which Mia knew meant they'd learned she planned to introduce the video from the gala. They wanted to keep Patricia's history of ableist behavior out of the trial. Mia spent a week crafting her opposition brief, a masterpiece of legal argument showing that the video wasn't character evidence at all. It was proof of corporate culture. It demonstrated that the discrimination wasn't the result of a few bad managers making independent decisions. It came from the top, from Patricia herself. Judge Sandra Morrison, a brilliant jurist who'd been on the federal bench for 20 years, denied the defense's motion. The video would be admitted. Mia allowed herself one moment of satisfaction before diving back into preparation. 4 weeks before trial, Mia was working late in her office when her phone rang. It was David. They hadn't spoken in nearly a month. She'd been too consumed with the case, and he'd been traveling for work. "I saw the news," David said without preamble. "Ashford Hotels. This is big." His voice was careful, professional. He knew better than to ask about specifics of an ongoing case. But underneath the professional tone, Mia heard something else. Concern, care. "It is," she said simply. "Are you okay? I mean, I know you can't talk about the case, but this must be..." He paused, searching for words. "It must be complicated." Mia appreciated that he didn't ask for details, didn't press. "It's the right case at the right time with the right team. That's all I can say." "Can I take you to dinner when this is over?" David asked. "Not as a journalist, just as me. As someone who's been thinking about you more than he probably should." Mia's heart skipped. In all their years of friendship, David had never been quite so direct. "I'd like that very much." "Good. Then go win this case, Mia Rodriguez. And when you do, I want to hear all about it over the best Italian food in Manhattan." After they hung up, Mia found herself smiling for the first time in weeks. Then she returned to work, but something had shifted. She felt lighter somehow, more hopeful, like maybe there was space in her life for both justice and joy. 3 weeks before trial, an unexpected visitor appeared at Mia's office. Her assistant buzzed her. "There's a Julian Ashford here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment." Mia's heart clenched. She hadn't seen or spoken to Julian in 8 years, not since that awkward encounter on a street corner when she'd been a second-year law student and he'd looked at her with such obvious regret that she'd had to turn away. "Tell him I'm not available. He says it's important. About the case." Mia hesitated, curiosity warring with self-preservation. "Fine, give me 5 minutes, then send him in." She used those 5 minutes to compose herself, to remember that she wasn't the crying girl on the hotel steps anymore. She was a lawyer about to take down his family's company. She had the power now. When Julian walked into her office, Mia barely recognized him. He was 32 now, but he looked older. Lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before, a weariness in his posture that spoke of years of unhappiness. His expensive suit couldn't hide the defeat that seemed to emanate from him. "Mia," his voice was rough, "thank you for seeing me. You have 5 minutes." She didn't stand, didn't offer him a seat. "What do you want?" Julian closed the door and moved closer, stopping a few feet from her desk. As he walked, Mia noticed something odd, a slight stumble, a hesitation in his gait. When he gripped the back of the chair in front of her desk, she saw his right hand trembling. "I came to warn you," he said. "My mother knows who you are. She remembered once she saw your name on the lawsuit. She's telling everyone you're doing this for revenge, that the case is personal, not legitimate." "It is personal," Mia said coldly. "It's personal to every single person your family's company discriminated against, but that doesn't make it any less legitimate." "I know." He ran his left hand through his hair, and Mia noticed he seemed to favor that hand as if the right one wasn't working properly. "Mia, I also came to apologize for that night, for not defending you, for being a coward. I've regretted it every day for 10 years. "Good," Mia said, her voice like ice. "You should regret it. I was weak. I was afraid of my mother, afraid of losing everything. But losing you was worse. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw you away because I was too scared to stand up for what was right." Julian swayed slightly, catching himself on the chair. Mia noticed sweat on his forehead, despite the cool office temperature. "Are you okay?" she asked, professional concern overriding her anger for a moment. "You look unwell." "I'm fine. Just tired. Too much work." He waved off her concern, but his hand shook as he did. "Mia, I want to make this right. I know I can't undo what I did, but—" "Then testify," Mia interrupted. "Testify for the plaintiffs. Tell the court about your mother's views on disability, about the culture she created at Ashford hotels, about what she said to me that night, and what it reveals about how she sees people like us." Julian's face went pale. "Mia, I can't. She's still my mother. The company is still my family's legacy. She'd disown me. I'd lose everything." "Then you haven't changed at all." Mia's voice cut like a blade. "You're still the same coward who stood in that doorway and watched me run out into the rain, still choosing comfort over courage, still choosing her over doing what's right. Please, try to understand. Get out of my office." Mia turned away from him, looking out at the Manhattan skyline. "Your 5 minutes are up, and if you try to contact me again, I'll file a harassment complaint." She heard him hesitate, heard him take a breath as if to say something more. Then footsteps, the door opening and closing. Silence. Mia stood at her window for a long time after he left, her reflection staring back at her in the darkening glass. She'd hoped, despite everything, that maybe Julian had found some backbone over the years, that maybe facing his own apparent health issues, whatever was causing those tremors and that unsteady gait, had given him perspective. But leopards didn't change their spots. He was still Patricia's son, still trapped in her web, still choosing the familiar chains over the terrifying freedom of doing what was right. 2 days later, Mia filed a subpoena for Julian Ashford to testify as a hostile witness. He had direct knowledge of his mother's discriminatory attitudes. He'd been present for relevant conversations about hiring practices and company culture. The subpoena would stick, and Julian would have to choose: perjure himself to protect his mother or tell the truth and finally find his courage. Mia didn't care which he chose. Either way, she was winning this case. That evening, she received an envelope at her office. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten on expensive stationery. "Ms. Rodriguez, I worked at Ashford Hotels for 12 years. I watched them destroy good people whose only crime was getting sick or hurt. I couldn't speak up then. I had a family to feed. But thank you for having the courage I didn't. You have no idea how many of us were waiting for someone brave enough to stand up to her. Win this, for all of us." The letter was unsigned, but it had been hand-delivered to the firm's reception desk by someone who refused to give a name. Mia pinned the letter to the bulletin board in her office, right next to Marcus's drawing of the superhero with a cane. Reminders of why she was fighting. Reminders of who was counting on her. The trial would begin in 2 weeks. Mia worked around the clock, rehearsing her opening statement until she could deliver it in her sleep, preparing witnesses, anticipating every argument the defense would make. Her leg ached constantly from the stress and long hours. Some mornings she could barely stand, but she never complained, never slowed down. This case was everything she'd been working toward for 10 years. One night, Carmen came to visit, bringing homemade pozole and forcing Mia to take a break. They sat in Mia's apartment, eating soup and talking about anything except the case. Finally, Carmen set down her spoon and studied her daughter's face. "Why is this so personal? And don't just say it's for the 50 plaintiffs." Mia was quiet for a long moment. "She told me I was nothing, Mama, that I was broken and embarrassing and would never be enough. For 10 years I've been proving her wrong. But it's not enough to just succeed. I need her to see it. I need her to understand what she did." "And then what?" Carmen asked gently. "After you win, after she knows who you are and what you've become." Will that heal what she broke? I don't know, Mia admitted, her voice cracking. But I have to try. Carmen reached across the table and took her daughter's hand. Then win. Not for revenge, but for those 50 people who need someone to fight for them the way no one fought for you that night. Win because you're the lawyer they need, the person Patricia's cruelty accidentally created. Mia nodded, blinking back tears. I will. The day before trial, Mia received a text from David. Good luck tomorrow. Not that you need it. You've got this. Dinner is still on the table for whenever you're ready. I'll be thinking of you. Mia smiled and typed back, Thank you. That means more than you know. She went to bed early that night, trying to rest, but sleep wouldn't come. She lay in the dark, thinking about Jennifer Parker living in her car, about Marcus Chen hidden in a basement, about 50 lives damaged by one woman's cruelty. She thought about Patricia's voice, You're nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere. And she thought about tomorrow, when she'd walk into that federal courthouse and begin the process of proving once and for all that Patricia Ashford had been catastrophically wrong. Mia Rodriguez wasn't nothing. She was justice personified. She was the voice for people who'd been silenced. She was the crippled girl from nowhere who'd become Patricia Ashford's worst nightmare. And tomorrow, the whole world would see it. The federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan was surrounded by news vans when Mia arrived on the first morning of trial. She stepped out of the car and was immediately met with the sound of voices, the flash of cameras, the sight of disability rights activists holding signs on the courthouse steps. Justice for all bodies. Disabled rights are human rights. Ashford Hotels. Luxury built on discrimination. A woman in a wheelchair rolled up to Mia as she approached the steps. Thank you for fighting this. My daughter uses a prosthetic leg. She needs to know people like us belong everywhere. Mia squeezed her hand. We're going to win. Inside, the courtroom was already packed. Journalists filled the back rows, their laptops open and ready. The 50 plaintiffs sat together on one side, a sea of faces united by their shared trauma. Mia's team took their positions at the plaintiffs' table, organizing files and preparing exhibits. Then the defense entered. Richard Whitmore came in first, flanked by 5 associates carrying boxes of documents. He was 60 years old, silver-haired, radiating the confidence of a man who'd won hundreds of cases. He glanced at Mia and smirked, a look that said he thought this would be easy. Behind him came Patricia and Julian Ashford. Mia's breath caught. This was the first time she'd seen Patricia in person since that night 10 years ago. Patricia was 62 now, her face harder, more angular, her blonde hair now a carefully maintained platinum. She wore a navy Chanel suit and carried herself like royalty entering a throne room. Her eyes swept the courtroom with disdain, pausing briefly on the plaintiffs before dismissing them entirely. Then Patricia saw Mia. Their eyes met across 30 feet of courtroom space, and Mia watched the recognition dawn. Patricia's expression flickered. Surprise, then calculation, then something that might have been concern. Julian sat beside his mother, looking miserable and increasingly unwell. His face was pale, and even from a distance Mia could see the slight tremor in his hands as he set down his briefcase. He wouldn't meet her eyes. Judge Sandra Morrison called court to order. We're here for Rodriguez versus Ashford Hotels Corporation. Are both sides ready to proceed? Ready for the plaintiffs, Your Honor. Mia stood, her voice clear and strong. Ready for the defense. Whitmore's voice boomed. Then let's begin with opening statements. Ms. Rodriguez, you may proceed. Mia walked to the jury box, positioning herself where all 12 jurors could see her clearly. She held her cane naturally, not hiding it, but not emphasizing it either, just part of who she was. Members of the jury, this case is about a simple question. Do people with disabilities deserve dignity at work? She paused, letting the question settle. The defense will try to complicate that question. They'll talk about business needs and performance standards. But at its core, this case is simple. She gestured toward the plaintiffs. 50 people who worked hard, who showed up every day, who gave years of their lives to Ashford hotels, were thrown away the moment they became inconvenient. The moment they stopped looking like what Patricia Ashford considers perfect. Several jurors leaned forward. You're going to hear from Jennifer Parker, who cleaned hotel rooms for 15 years until arthritis made her hands ache. Instead of accommodation, she got a termination letter. You'll hear from Marcus Chen, a concierge who used a wheelchair after a car accident. Instead of support, he got assigned to a basement office where guests would never see him. She turned slightly, and for the first time, she looked directly at Patricia. And you'll hear from the woman who created this culture of discrimination, Patricia Ashford, CEO of Ashford Hotels, who sent emails telling her managers to avoid hiring people who looked sick or damaged, who wrote that disabled employees made guests uncomfortable. Patricia's jaw tightened. Mia moved closer to the jury box. 10 years ago, I learned what Patricia Ashford thinks about people like me. She told me I was nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere, that I was an embarrassment, that I didn't belong in her world. She paused, letting the personal nature sink in. She was wrong about me, and she's wrong about every single person sitting behind me who she tried to throw away. By the end of this trial, you're going to see exactly who Patricia Ashford is and what her company did to vulnerable workers. And we're going to ask you to hold them accountable. Mia returned to her seat. The courtroom was silent. Whitmore delivered his opening, arguing legitimate business reasons and performance standards. But Mia noticed some jurors weren't buying it. They kept glancing at the plaintiffs, at the woman in the wheelchair, at the man with the prosthetic arm, at faces that showed real suffering. The first 2 weeks were a systematic presentation of evidence. Mia called HR directors, introduced discriminatory emails, brought in disability experts. The documentation was devastating. Email after email, policy after policy, all pointing to the same conclusion. Ashford Hotels didn't want disabled workers visible to their guests. Then the plaintiffs testified. Jennifer Parker described cleaning rooms until her hands bled, being fired, becoming homeless. Marcus Chen explained being hidden in the basement. They didn't want guests to see me in my wheelchair, like I was bad for business, like my disability was contagious or offensive. Each testimony was devastating. Several jurors wiped their eyes. On day 8, Mia called Carmen Rodriguez to the stand. Her mother looked dignified in the dress Mia had bought her. Carmen testified about friends who'd worked for Ashford Hotels, about the culture of fear, about workers pushed out rather than supported. Ms. Rodriguez, Mia asked gently, did these workers express feelings about how they were treated? They felt disposable, like they only mattered when they could work themselves to exhaustion, and the moment their bodies broke down, they were trash to be thrown away. Carmen looked directly at Patricia. One of my friends, Maria Delgado, worked housekeeping for Ashford Hotels for 20 years. She developed severe back problems. When she asked for help, they fired her 2 weeks before her pension fully vested. 2 weeks after 20 years of loyalty. Carmen's voice broke. Maria died 3 years later. She never recovered financially or emotionally. She died believing she'd failed, when the truth was, they failed her. The courtroom was silent, except for someone crying softly in the gallery. Ms. Rodriguez, Patricia Ashford once told your daughter that she was nothing. What would you say to that? Carmen turned to look directly at Patricia. I would say my daughter is everything. She is everything you'll never understand. Kindness, real strength, dignity that doesn't come from a bank account. You called her nothing, but she spent 10 years becoming someone who fights for people you threw away. So who's really nothing here, Mrs. Ashford? Whitmore didn't attempt to cross-examine. On day 9, Mia played the video. The lights dimmed, the screen lowered, And there, in front of 12 jurors, 50 plaintiffs, a packed courtroom, and Patricia Ashford herself, the video played. The ballroom, the champagne. Patricia's voice, clear and cold. "You're nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere. You will never be part of this family." The cane falling, clattering on marble, the woman kicking it away. Mia limping across the floor while people laughed. Patricia's final taunt. At least she can still run, sort of. When the video ended and the lights came up, the courtroom was completely silent. Several jurors were staring at Patricia with expressions of shock and disgust. One older woman on the jury had tears running down her face. Patricia sat frozen, her face pale, her composure cracking. Mia stood. "Your Honor," the plaintiff calls Patricia Ashford to the stand. Patricia moved like a woman heading to her execution. She was sworn in, her hand shaking on the Bible. Mia approached. "Mrs. Ashford, do you remember me?" "Yes." "Do you remember what you said to me at the charity gala 10 years ago? There was an unfortunate incident." "Unfortunate? You called me a crippled girl from nowhere. You said I was an embarrassment. You mocked my disability in front of 300 people. Do you deny saying those things?" "I was protecting my son." "Answer the question. Did you say those things, yes or no?" Patricia's jaw clenched. "Yes." "Do you still believe people with disabilities are embarrassments?" "Objection. Relevance," Whitmore called. "Your Honor, this goes directly to Mrs. Ashford's state of mind regarding disability." "Overruled. Answer the question." Patricia looked trapped. "I believe that in certain contexts, appearances matter. And by appearances, you mean people who use wheelchairs or canes should be kept out of sight?" "I didn't say that." "But you wrote it." Mia held up an email. Quote, "Our guests don't want to be reminded of life's difficulties." "What did you mean?" "That people come to luxury hotels to escape their problems. And disabled people are problems." "That's not what I meant." Mia's voice rose. "Then what did you mean when you wrote to avoid hiring anyone who looks sick or damaged? What did you mean when you told your HR director to manage out employees who became disabled?" "Objection. Argumentative. Withdrawn. Mrs. Ashford, do you believe disabled people belong in your hotels? As employees, as guests, as human beings worthy of respect?" Patricia's composure finally shattered. "I built this company from nothing. I have a right to decide who represents my brand, even if that means discriminating against an entire class of people. I'm not discriminating, I'm maintaining excellence. By throwing away anyone who doesn't look perfect to you?" "Yes!" The word burst out before Patricia could stop it. The courtroom gasped. Patricia's face went white as she realized what she'd just admitted under oath. Mia let the moment breathe. No further questions. During lunch recess, Patricia approached Mia in a courthouse hallway. Mia discreetly started recording on her phone. "Let's be reasonable," Patricia said, glancing around. "I'm prepared to offer you $15 million personally. Drop the case, sign an NDA. You'd be set for life. You think you can buy your way out of this? Everyone has a price. 15 million is generous. It's not enough. 20 million then, final offer." "You're not hearing me. There is no amount of money that would make me walk away." Patricia's mask dropped, her face twisting with rage. "You're making a terrible mistake. I will destroy your career. I will dig up every piece of dirt on you and your mother. I will make sure you regret crossing the Ashford family." Mia pulled out her phone and smiled. "Thank you, Mrs. Ashford. That was very helpful." Patricia went white. "You recorded me. Every word, including the bribery attempt and the threats." Judge Morrison was furious when Mia played the recording. She informed the jury of Patricia's bribery attempt and threats, noting it demonstrated consciousness of guilt. On day 12, during testimony from a plaintiff with MS, Julian collapsed. His body seized with violent tremors. He crashed forward, catching himself on the table, breathing ragged. "Julian!" Patricia reached for him. "Not here, please!" But Julian pushed her away. He struggled to his feet, his whole body shaking, sweat pouring down his face. Judge Morrison stood. "Mr. Ashford, you need medical attention." "No, I need to say this. I need to finally tell the truth." He looked at the jury, then at Mia. "I have multiple sclerosis, diagnosed 6 months ago. I've been hiding it from everyone because I was terrified." His voice broke. "My mother taught me that disability was shameful, that being broken was the worst thing that could happen. 10 years ago, I stood silent while she destroyed the woman I loved because I was afraid. And now I am what she would call broken. I'm one of them now." He turned to the jury. "My mother created a company culture where people with disabilities are seen as defective, as embarrassing, as less than human. I watched it happen. I said nothing. I was complicit." Then he looked at Mia. "I can't undo what I did to you, but I can finally stand up now." For the next hour, Julian testified against his mother. He described meetings where Patricia said, "We can't have staff that look sick serving our guests." He confirmed the discriminatory policies came from the top. Patricia sat devastated, watching her son become the thing she feared and turn against her. On day 13, Natalie Henderson testified, "Patricia approved of me until she learned I have anxiety disorder. She told me, 'Women of our class don't have mental health problems. That's for weak people.' She called me damaged goods and defective." The testimony showed Patricia discriminated against any condition she deemed imperfect. On day 14, Mia delivered her closing argument. 10 years ago, Patricia Ashford told me I was nothing but a crippled girl from nowhere. She was wrong about me, but she wasn't lying about herself. She showed us exactly who she is, someone who believes wealth gives her the right to dehumanize others." She looked at each juror. "The 50 plaintiffs aren't seeking revenge, they're seeking justice. Don't let Patricia Ashford tell you they don't belong. They belong everywhere. They belong because they're human, and that's all the qualification anyone should ever need." The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the forewoman stood. "In the matter of Rodriguez versus Ashford Hotels Corporation, we find in favor of the plaintiffs. We award compensatory damages of $47 million and punitive damages of $42 million. Total, $89 million. The courtroom erupted. Patricia's face crumbled. Judge Morrison also ordered comprehensive policy changes and 5-year monitoring. As the courtroom emptied, Patricia approached Mia. "I suppose you're quite pleased with yourself." Mia stood slowly. "Mrs. Ashford, this case was never about me. It was about 300 people your company treated like garbage, people like my mother. That dinner, I was protecting my son." "No, you were protecting your ego, your narrow, frightened view of the world. But you taught me the most valuable lesson, that cruelty reveals weakness, not strength, that the only person who can make me feel small is me, and I refuse to ever feel that way again." Julian stepped forward. "Mia, I've thought about you every day for 10 years. What I did has destroyed me. If I could go back," Mia looked at him. "You can't go back. You showed me exactly who you were when it mattered most. And honestly, I'm grateful, because if you'd defended me, I might have stayed and made myself smaller to fit into your world. You freed me to become someone I'm proud of, someone who fights for people who can't fight for themselves, someone your mother just learned to fear." She picked up her cane. "I hope someday you both find the courage to become better, but that's not my problem anymore." Mia walked out, Carmen waiting with pride. They linked arms and walked through the crowd of reporters, while Patricia and Julian stood frozen in the shadows, watching the woman they'd dismissed as nothing walk into the afternoon sunshine like she owned the world, because in that moment, she did. 6 months after the verdict, Mia stood in her corner office at Sterling and Wade, looking out over Manhattan as the sun set. Her phone buzzed with news. Ashford Hotels announces major restructuring following discrimination lawsuit. Patricia had been forced to step down as CEO. The company was hemorrhaging money. But what mattered to Mia were the daily emails from people with disabilities who now felt brave enough to fight back, from parents who had hope, from organizations asking her to speak and train others. The case had started a conversation that was changing lives. Her assistant announced a visitor, Margaret Ashford. Julian's grandmother entered slowly, leaning on an antique wooden cane. At 79, she wore a simple grey dress, her eyes sharp and clear. "I attended every day of the trial," Margaret said after sitting. "I needed to see what my family had done." She paused, her hands trembling. "I came to apologize. I was at that gala 10 years ago. I saw everything Patricia did to you. I heard every word, and I did nothing." Mia's throat tightened. She hadn't known Margaret was there. "I should have stopped her. I should have helped you." Margaret pulled an envelope from her purse. "I've changed my will. Half of my estate, $60 million, will fund the Carmen Rodriguez Foundation for Disability Rights, legal representation, scholarships, advocacy programs." Mia stared, stunned. "The other half will establish scholarships at 10 universities for first-generation students with disabilities." Margaret leaned forward. "When I pass, this will be my legacy. You reminded me that dignity isn't about perfection or wealth. It's about how we treat the most vulnerable among us." Before leaving, Margaret shared one more thing. "Patricia came to see me last week. She's lost everything and cried, something I've never seen. I told her she confused excellence with exclusion, that she built an empire on the idea some people matter less than others. I think for the first time Patricia Ashford realized she was wrong." After Margaret left, Marcus Sterling called. The Department of Justice wanted to use the Ashford case as the foundation for new federal guidelines on disability discrimination in hospitality. "What you did, it's bigger than one case now. It's changing policy across entire industries." Mia pinned the drawing Marcus from Roosevelt Elementary had given her on her wall, beside her Columbia Law diploma, and the magazine cover naming her one of the 50 most influential lawyers in America. Her phone buzzed. "David, can I come up? I'm in your lobby." 5 minutes later, David walked in with coffees. "I needed to see you, not as a journalist, just as someone who cares about you, who's cared about you for a long time." He moved closer. "You're the most extraordinary person I've ever met, not because of what you survived, but because of who you are. Can I take you to dinner? A real date where I get to tell you how amazing you are and maybe hold your hand across the table?" Mia looked at this man who'd seen her completely for years, who'd never treated her as fragile or broken. "Yes, I've been scared for a long time, but I'm tired of letting fear make my decisions. You've been patient and kind, and you see me, really see me." "That's all I've ever seen," David said, reaching for her hand. "Just Mia, who happens to be the most incredible person I've ever met." 3 months later at their Italian restaurant, David asked, "Are you happy?" Mia thought about her career, her mother finally able to rest, the foundation, and David, someone who loved her exactly as she was. "Yes, I really am." That night, Mia worked on her memoir, typing the final section about how Patricia's words revealed everything about her and nothing about Mia's worth. She wrote to everyone who'd been told they weren't enough. "You are enough. You always were." 2 years after the trial, Mia had made partner at Sterling and Wade, married David in Central Park, published her best-selling memoir, Worth a Crippled Girl's Journey to Justice, and watched the Carmen Rodriguez Foundation help over 1,000 people and award 500 scholarships. Patricia lived quietly in a modest apartment, diminished and isolated. Julian had moved to San Diego, managing his MS and consulting on disability inclusion, trying to atone. He and Mia had exchanged one email of closure, then never spoke again. When Margaret passed away 2 years after the trial, Mia received her final letter. "The last 2 years of my life were the most meaningful because of what you taught me. Thank you for reminding me it's never too late to stand for what's right." That evening, Mia stood at her office window, touching the pearl necklace Patricia had mocked as costume jewelry, actually worth $15,000. What Patricia had dismissed as worthless was precious, just like Mia. She looked at photos, her wedding with David, scholarship ceremonies, her partnership announcement. She no longer needed to watch the viral video. She knew how the story ended. David texted, "Downstairs, ready when you are." Mia picked up her carbon fiber cane, sleek, professional, unapologetically part of her. She headed home to her husband who loved her completely, her mother who believed in her always, a life full of purpose and meaning. She thought about the 8-year-old girl in the hospital who'd been told her leg would never work right. If she could tell that girl anything, it would be, your disability doesn't define you. How you respond will shape you into someone extraordinary. You are not broken. You are exactly enough, and one day you'll prove it in ways you can't imagine. Mia stepped into the elevator smiling. She'd proven it, she was still proving it, and she was just getting started. If this story reminded you that no one has the right to tell you where you belong, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more powerful stories of resilience, justice, and becoming everything they said you couldn't be.